There we go. And we got the draft counting down here. About
Dustin Wolf is top 10 in this rankings in fantasy goalies.
He has been very popular in drafts, and I'm not going to be that guy that milks the first overall pick very long when we all know who we're taking here. Just going to take Connor McDavid. We're not going to go crazy here.
That seems like a smart move.
But let's not be. Now, again, I'm not going to pick for a while.
I remember when I used to get Connor McDavid with the 6th overall pick, but that was last week.
So there we go. McDavid first, McKinnon second. Cale Makar goes third. That's as early as I've seen him go. With Anthony on the clock now, picking 4th.
Someone's been listening to the show, I guess.
I'm curious to see how high that ADP goes for Cale Makar this year, because people are catching on to trying to get at least the top defenseman out of the way early, especially with guys like Werenski and Quinn Hughes out there. And Makar is just a fantastic player and has had no reason to show any signs of slump or regression. He's still playing on a top team. So, yeah, to me, I don't know if I take him before 4, but I could certainly make the argument from the go as that high as Leon Draisaitl goes 4th to Anthony Nikita Kucherov 5th. And here, Chris on the clock at 6. He takes Kirill Kaprizov. He takes his guy. Obviously, if Makar was there, you're probably taking him, but that's your plan B, and that's not a bad plan B.
Not a bad plan. I just, I wanted to get one of those two, and I did.
All right. So after that, David Pastrnak goes, who's going to be the sole source of offense for the Boston Bruins this year. There goes Mikko Rantanen in 9th. Certainly an appropriate spot for him. And again, we are playing, the past few mock drafts have been just straightforward D goaltender. Now we've got 2 centers, 2 left wings, 2 right wings, 4 defensemen, 2 goalies, and 4 bench spots to play with here in a 12-team draft. As the next team coming up here on the clock has got about 5 seconds left. Definitely this is at a part of the draft we got to make decisions. Am I taking Quinn Hughes? Am I taking William Nylander? Am I taking Connor Hellebuck? Those are just some names that get thrown out around this time of the draft.
And because these are real people, there's some actual thought behind some of these.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's not like in other years where or it's not like when we were with ESPN and a goalie goes 3rd overall and you're like, okay, well, that's fun.
All right, so Quinn Hughes goes pick 11 because the clock gets milked again. Normally, I don't love clocks being milked down, but at this point in the draft, there are decisions to be made. There's a lot of ways you could go. Jack Eichel rounds up round 1, and he does the Vegas double stack there, Steve, and he takes Mitch Marner round 2. That's another guy that, I've only been doing mocks this week. I mean, it's so early in the Yahoo process that they don't even have ADPs up for these guys yet. And Marner is, when I first started back on Wednesday, Marner was going late 2nd round, and he's steadily moved up into the top of the 2nd round just in a few days.
That's a very nice stack there, though, for him.
Normally, I don't like stacking guys from the same team that quickly. It's a little bit different than football with a quarterback and a receiver. But in this situation, yeah, an Eichel Marner stack like that, and a Hughes Kachuk pairing, certainly not a bad way to go on the wraparound at the back end of a 1st, 2nd round pick there. The guy who took Connor Hellebuck, is now on the clock. See if he takes a skater at this pick.
I just don't want him to take my player.
Kyle Connor goes, so he's got a Winnipeg Jets stack going. There's a guy that's still on the board that I would love to have, but there's no way he is making it to me. So
I'll try to put you out of your misery for it.
Well, we'll see. I mean, there's still 3 picks to go. Again, if anybody that's watching this right now, that's also in the mock, maybe we could pick up the pace just a little bit here. Have a good mocky draft. I think what he's said, Marek is staying there. Love the support here. And hey, we take these and we isolate them and put them out there. So if you don't want to sit through the gambling stuff, you can always go back and watch the mock drafts that'll be on our YouTube channel later today, if not tomorrow. I'll separate these and get them posted. Here we go. Clock being milked down after Kyle Connor.
I know. It's just he took Werenski, so I'll take a goalie here.
All right, there we go. So it's just my screen was frozen. So it goes Werenski, Nylander, Panarin, Jake Ottinger, Matthew Tkachuk, and Anthony on the clock here.
I wanted Werenski, but I guess cat's out of the bag. He's elite. So,
and here's the thing: a Rantanen and Werenski pairing, and that back end of the first, the first round.
That's a lot of offense, man. That's a lot of baggers.
So listen, third goalie off the board. Ant takes Vasilevsky there. Probably not the worst move in the world, because if he was still there when I was picking, I was probably taking him.
I didn't want to take a goalie that early, but I also didn't want to wait on the round.
That's kind of like this. We're very early in Mockey season here, and it's, we're trying to figure out where these top tier goalies are going. And right now, Hellebuck's usually the only guy in the first round, but then in that second round, we're starting to see the guy, second and third round especially, and then it kind of trails off a little bit. Jack Hughes goes.
It's kind of trying to weigh the upside to it, because like sometimes taking like goalies can be voodoo and they can be random, but usually your elite goalies are going to be elite, and it's the juggling of, do I forego a player that could potentially hit 100 points, or a defenseman who can flirt with 80 for a top tier goalie, or can I find that value later on?
Now, I was a little bummed because I was hoping to get Sam Reinhart there. I know Braden points on the board, but I'm going to first take Evan Bouchard, go with a little Edmonton Oilers power play stack. Now, I got a long time till I pick again, and I don't want to wait on goaltender anymore. So I'm going to get my boy, Igor Shesterkin, open up round 3. And again, when you're picking at the back end or the front end of a round, yeah, it's great to have the back-to-back picks on the swing, but sometimes, like, would I prefer to wait on a goaltender? Sure, but I don't know if I can. By the time the picks get around to me, I may not love what's out there. And I like to have one anchor goaltender for sure. I don't like being forced into a situation where I'm taking Linus Olmark and Thatcher Demko and got my fingers crossed, Rasmus Dahlin goes to Travis there. He's building a nice squad. Nate McKinnon, Sam Reinhart, Rasmus Dahlin. That's a good first 3 rounds. As Dylan's on the clock here. He's got Cale Makar and Jack Hughes. Pick 3-3 here. 5
defensemen early.
That's about right. I mean, that's not, a little bit ahead of pace from last season. There goes Ovechkin with pick 27. Anthony on the clock now. He's got his center right wing in Draisaitl, and that's the other thing too. Position eligibility all of a sudden comes into play here. Vasilevsky will go forward, or will he grab his first defenseman here? There's one name on the board that if I would take at this point. I would struggle to pass on him, but and Ant takes Josh Morrissey. He sees the run on defenseman coming. Says, you know what? I don't want to be left out.
Speaking of stacks, can't have one. Not right. Well, listen, can't have one without the other, because these two are going to be a lot of fun to watch all year. So I'm going to take, and dual position eligibility, super important here, Matt Bold.
And again, wing. I'll say this: left wing is a little bit more top heavy, but when the cliff goes for the right wingers, it's steep. So, Matt Boldy goes there. So he's got Kaprizov, Ottinger, and Boldy as his first 3 picks. Now Jason on the clock with Matthews and Panarin. Certainly a good pairing there in the first 2 rounds. See what he's got going here. Jason Robertson, and then Annie and whoever, waste no time. Braden Point falling with a 3.8, a guy who usually goes somewhere in the second round. That's a steal. I mean, I could have taken him too, but I didn't want to have 2 centers out of the gate and then be left with not a defenseman or a goaltender by the time it came back to me. So kudos to that, Annie and whoever. They got Nylander, who can also play the right side, Pasternak and Point. There goes Barkov, Blackwood, and Forsberg with Steve on the clock there as we wrap up round 3 in a second.
Chase with 2 goalies in the top 3 is absolute banger move there. That's one that can win you a league, or one that's going to sink you immediately.
And that's the thing, because that will win you some weeks, just having those 2 guys, depending on how many goalie categories there are. So, and then the round closes with Ilya Sorokin. A lot of people expecting a bounce back from him. And then Jake Gensel and Macklin Celebrini goes at pick 39.
Absolute wildness that Steve took Lane Hudson at 4-1. I love that.
Oh, he's another guy who's he's in that second tier of fantasy defensemen already. And there goes Victor Hedman. So yes, very good that people grabbed the defenseman when they did, because they're starting to go. But people are realizing that now.
Yeah, listen, people who draft on Yahoo, some of the smartest people, even just random.
There goes Adam Cox.
Nothing against the ESPN folks, but you guys have no idea what's going on. Like, hockey is played on ice with a black rubber puck. But yeah, some of the smartest people here. I'm not going to let somebody else take him from me. And he also has dual position eligibility. So I'm going to take Tage Thompson here.
And it's almost, he's been going a little bit early. This is about the spot he's been going, but his ADP is going to go up for sure.
I expect it to. And I'm hoping the others don't catch up to him. I'm hoping everybody forgets where Buffalo is on the map so they don't think about him, so I can think about him.
So Ant on the clock here. Once he makes his pick, we'll let him talk it through here. But yes, and the other thing I've noticed too is, like, we are in the thick of fantasy football draft season and mock season. I figured I was going to have nobody in the room with me on a Wednesday night at 10 o'clock Pacific time. No, like those 12, if you're not in on it, like that one room that fills up quick. So people are already out doing mocks.
How tilting was it that we finished last week's episode and then I got the email from Yahoo not even an hour later being like, hey, fantasy hockey mock draft is open. And I'm like, really?
Thanks, guys.
This is how we get treated? So,
Ant, you take Clayton Keller there. I love that pick, and I like the way your team's coming together right now. You opened up with Draisaitl, Vasilevsky, Morrissey, Keller.
Yeah, I like the fact that he has dual eligibility. So I thought that it was ripe for the picking for Keller.
All right. And he probably would not have lasted by the time he got back to you.
I don't think so.
Now, I can make two picks here. Now, this is a banger league. So give me Adrian Kempe as one of my picks. And I could go in three different directions here. I got to expect that he will not have he'll have a better season than his sophomore year. Give me Connor Bedard. Pick 49 to open round 5. Dual position eligibility in Yahoo too.
He looks like he's been working out in the gym. Homie's got those steel biceps now.
Listen, I've got McDavid and Bedard on the same fantasy hockey team right now. How could I not be happy with that?
There's a lot of goals. There's not a lot of physical contact, but there's a lot of goals.
Well, that's why I took Kempe. He had 104 hits last year. I'm going to have to build that part of my roster. Yeah, Mark Scheifele's fall had to stop. Like, at some point, somebody had to take him. Here we go. Dylan on the clock here. He's taking Ovechkin, Suzuki, Jack Hughes, and Cale Makar. I got to say, when I look at everybody's team in here so far, I'm like, yeah, I'd take that team. Yeah, there's nobody that'd be like, oh, that person's drafting like garbage right now. Everybody's good. Everybody's got good teams, making it tough. There goes Jesper Bratt. I'm sure Ant's not happy about that.
No, he was kind of on my list if someone else didn't go, but I'm getting the guy I want. And usually I like to do the goalie tandem, but that bit me in the tush last year. So I'm going to change it up and get my second top goalie.
And listen, when you take a guy like Vasilevsky, that is not a guy. Jonas Johansson is not on the handcuff list, nor will he be. So I mean, that's right in line with your strategy. That's probably the best. Him and Jonathan Quick played a fair amount last year, but if you're looking for workhorse goalies, Vasilevsky's your first stop, right? And after Hellebuck.
Yeah.
So Jesper Bratt goes at 5'3", and takes Philip Gustafson 5'4". Barty Natchez, who's a sneaky good 5th round pick, going to be playing with McKinnon on that top line. He's a guy I've been trying to target when possible. Cole Caulfield, no surprise going there. Pick 54 to Chris. Got to have guys to root for on the team. And Cole Caulfield in the middle of the 5th round. Not too shabby.
Got to root for 40 this year. So
there goes Wyatt Johnston. Brandon Hagel really quickly picks there. Sergei Bobrovsky, Robert Thomas, Dylan Larkin. Wow, this 5th round's moving. As we're already up to the last pick of the 5th round here. Steve on the clock. He's got Jack Eichel, Mitch Marner, Ilya Sorokin, Lane Hudson. So another team that I'm like, yep, that's pretty good. Let's see what direction he heads here. He takes Bo Horvat. So, Horvat's a guy, and there goes Dobson. So a couple of Islander connection there. Then Dustin Wolf and Jacob Chikrin. To go at pick 63, Seth Jarvis. There goes Mackenzie Weegar. He's an underrated fantasy defenseman because he fills a lot of categories for you. He goes at pick 65. Jason on the clock here. Chris, who do you have in mind, and who are you hoping isn't sniped? Can't trade to take the pick, so you could tell us.
I'm hoping a defenseman is there.
I think the guy you wanted was just taking.
He was the next one. If this defense, I'm taking Roman Yossi. Thomas Harley would have been the next guy though, because the run is starting. So I don't want to be missing out.
Yeah, I was totally thinking of a bounce back season for Josie as someone that I would come around this round, but good pick.
He was
there.
like top. He used to be like a top 3 defenseman.
Yeah,
I understand he's not the same player he once was, and Nashville's a big reason to that. But like, can anybody name another like defenseman there? No. Like he can do everything. He can shoot. He can block shots. Why not?
So then after Yossi, Alex DeBrincat, Ant gets his devil, and Nico Hischier. Listen, you're getting him at a discount right now, at least early on in the Mockey season. And Moritz Seider goes there at pick 610, at pick 70 overall. And I can tell you, fellas, I'm definitely taking a defenseman with one of my 2 swing picks here, because look at all this green in round 6. I'm on the clock here, but only 1, 2, 3, 4 picks in this round, not defensemen. So my options right now: Shea Theodore, Jake Sanderson, Dougie Hamilton, Brandon Montour, Miro Heiskanen, Mikhail Sergachev. I'm going to take one of these guys here. I think I'll deal with Shea Theodore, and I'll get a piece of that Vegas top power play unit. Now I got to look at what I want to do. My next pick here. I don't know if I'm going to try and listen. They just paid him. He took a hometown discount. Give me John Tavares. I can move Bedard to the right wing and have Tavares as my second center there. That's one thing that annoys me about Yahoo is they don't move people. Like you have to like force it with like your bench picks. But yeah, so in this build right now, I'd have McDavid, Tavares as my centers with Bedard and Kempe as my right wings.
I'm gonna take a chance here on. I'm gonna take a chance on Matvei Mishkov. He got a lot better when John Tortorella got out of town, so I'm hoping he can continue that torridness.
The Flyers know what they have in Mishkov. They're gonna do the right thing and play around him. So yeah, it's not crazy to think he's gonna have a big season or a better season than his rookie year. Darcy Kemper, there you go. That's probably an appropriate spot for him to go, considering he went after Adin Hill, Dustin Wolf, Bobrovsky, Gustafsson. I think that's a fair place for Darcy Kemper to go, even factoring in an expected regression. Travis Konechny after Lucas goes, then Lucas Raymond here. So we are 80 picks through, and then pick 7-9. There goes Anthony Stolarz, Nikolai Ehlers, Logan Thompson. So 7th round almost done here, as Steve's going to bring us into round 8. How do we feel about our team so far?
This is probably the most challenging one since there are actually real people.
Yeah, it's
like I'm putting my brain into it.
Yeah.
And Matthew Nyes, I have no left wings yet. I was hoping maybe he'd swing back around to me. Maybe I was being a little, pie in the sky, thinking he would get to me at the end of the 8th round. That's why I hesitated to take Tavares, because I was thinking maybe I could wait on Nyes, but I was like, I don't know. Tavares was kind of that insurance, and I thought maybe taking him to open the 7th round would have been a little too early for him. But hey, we're helping set the ADPs right now. That's what we're doing. The real hockey, the people doing fantasy mock hockey drafts right now are the real fantasy mock players. Because a lot of just the general fantasy players are always, like I said, it's football season right now. So people start paying more attention to fantasy hockey once September hits and all the drafts are in the books for football. So in the 8th round, Seth Jones opens it up, and then Yuri Slavkovsky, Kevin Fiala, Matt Duchene, and Drake Batherson. Jason on the clock here, Chris on deck. Jacob Markstrom goes. So yeah, listen, the top tier goalies are second tier goalies are all going. So it might be time to grab that second one if you haven't.
I'm going to take a risk here. I don't really enjoy drafting him, but at this point, it seems like it's a discount, and it can only be up from here. It can't get worse for Elias Pettersson. Like it can't, right? Like it can't get worse if you're being paid $11.5 million after the season yet.
And that's the thing. Like last year, this was a guy that was going late in the first round, no later than early in the second round. Middle of the 8th round, I think it's like you said, it's fair to take a stab on this guy at this point. There goes Tomas Hertl, Luke Hughes. Wow, Brandon Montour, Dougie Hamilton. Defensemen are going here. This might force my hand. I don't mind it because I was high on the guy last year, and I think they're going to be a better team this year. And that drop off in defenseman is real close. So I'm going to have to make one of those picks on Mikhail Sergachev here to close out round 12. And again, because goalie is starting to dry up, I feel like if I wait too much longer, I'm not going to be happy with what's left. And I was singing this guy's praises before. The topic of the first Born Again Goalie series, Jordan Binnington, open round 9. There we go. Shesterkin Binnington, which was a build I had in a mock I did last night. And I was like, I could deal with that. I think that's a good goalie pairing.
You could, okay.
Because of the draft, the capital that's invested. If I'm taking Shesterkin, round 3, and I'm taking Binnington round 9, I think that's reasonable. Love Anthony's Jackson Lacombe pick. He was one of my waiver wire pickups last year that I was most proud of.
Yeah, after seeing all these defensemen go, you got 4 spots here. Gotta keep stacking these guys because they're flying off the board.
I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna get more value. Just everybody's going one way, so I'll go the other way here, doing Gunther.
Again, I can't say that there's a guy that I think is still out there that if he miraculously makes it back to me, no, he's not going to come back to me. Never mind.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. It's asking a lot. He would have to fall very far. When he goes off the board, I'll let you know who he is. But because you guys picked before me, I cannot say who it is. UC Saros, Linus Olmark. So I'm happy to see goalies go now. I'm going to take probably one more from my bench at some point. But I want to see picks go. Rupe Hintz, his stock's falling. There goes JJ Peterka. That was the guy that I was, again, I was delusional to think he might have made it back to me. But, a guy can dream sometimes. He goes right after Alex Tuck and Rupe Hintz, who's gotten at a discount there. Matthew Barzal, Steve, and as he opens up round 10 here, see who he grabs. There goes Carter Verhaeghe, Vince Dunja. Wow. People are filling it. Listen, there's a big difference between 3 and 4 defensive spots. There's 3 defensemen you can really wait and still grab somebody in the later rounds, and you're like, all right, fine. Even if you want to carry a 4th defenseman, you could find somebody in those later rounds and be like, okay, fine. This draft with that 4th defenseman, people are not messing around. I mean, look at the amount of green that has gone in the last 3.5 rounds. Look at that. You want to go around before that 6th round? I mean, it's been more defensemen than not defensemen, it seems like, since the beginning of round 6.
I don't love it, but I mean, the Oilers are going to keep winning games, so we'll trust Stuart Skinner-ish.
I'm not taking him. I don't think he's going to have the job long term.
I mean, we're at pick 10. He's a starter on a team with a projection over/under of 106 points. So,
all right, I can no longer ignore left wing anymore. All right, so this is what I'm going to end up doing. Am I going to triple stack here? I'm going to go Hyman, McDavid, Bouchard. Why not? Why not? Let's just do a lot of Edmonton there, and then. All right, position versatility and eligibility can certainly make a guy's stock go up. I don't think I'm crazy for taking Buchnevich here, who could play all 3 wing spots to open round 11 there. So I'm fine with that. I mean, I couldn't wait because now you got the Frank Vitranos and Tyler Toffoli's of the world. as left wings, and I have had nobody. There is one other left wing eligible guy I've got my eye on if he gets back to me, but that's a little bit later. There goes Neil Pionk and Logan Stankoven to open up the first 3 picks of round 11. Pick 124, Anthony on the clock here. Tyler Toffoli.
Okay.
Listen, he bounces around the lineup for the Sharks, but he's gonna get time with that top 6, especially with how young that team is. They're gonna probably try and keep him with one of the younger lines at all times, just as with a veteran presence out there. I mean, yes, I know maybe I could beat him in a foot race. I don't know, but he seems to say, listen, he might be slow, but he seems to not be out of position, so he makes it work.
Gonna get a lot of shots on goal. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's certainly on a line with Celebrini, he's going to be fed the puck. That's for sure. And if they decide to go Will Smith at center and put him with him, same thing. There we go. Toffoli, Jonathan Marchessault, Joel Eriksson, Eck to Chris. He's got to love that in the 11th round. Matthew Schaefer going way earlier here, usually like a final round pick. And ESPN drafts going around 11. He's going to be running the Islanders power play, or at least he's going to be given the opportunity to. Again, look at all this green. Shane Gostisbehere, and then goes Zibanejad, Carlson, Doughty, Velarde, Faber, Taves, Carolina Hurricanes defenseman Alexander Nikishin. Trocheck, love that pick. Kind of wish you made it back to me there, Sam Montembeau. And then here we go again with Jason on the clock at pick 138. Logan Cooley. So Chris probably, maybe that was on his short list, but we'll see who he's going to take.
I don't want to take him here, but I know he's going to get picked earlier than I want to. So either I get on board or I get off the train. I'm gonna take
Mason McTavish. Oh, Demidov.
Ivan Demidov here. He is ranked 146, which is very, very generous, but the upside is there.
State of Survival says I don't think Schaefer's playing this year. That's last time I checked. It's up to him to earn the spot. He's not guaranteed. I mean, listen, with defensemen, it's a little bit different than a top overall forward. To as in terms of let me make my pick here before things go crazy. All right, you know what? Give me Thatcher Demko as my 3rd goalie, and so much many defensemen have gone. I'm gonna wait on that. I'm looking at the available forwards here. Mason McTavish, give me a visit year in Anaheim. Why not? Give me that. He's my 3rd center now.
I mean, if he doesn't play in Long Island, we're like, who's taking the spot though?
That's the thing. Like, he would really have to have a miserable camp or something like that for him to not make. Again, they're going to shelter his minutes. They're not going. They're going to put him on the 3rd pairing. They'll let him run the power play if he makes the team, even if they start him on the 2nd unit and let him work his way up. But what are the Islanders playing for this year? It's not like he could potentially cost them a deep playoff run. Again, I know you have to be a little more cautious with defensemen versus a forward in terms of them playing their first year, but he is a top overall pick for a reason. Aaron Ekblad did it, didn't he?
It's true. Aaron Ekblad did do it, and it wasn't terrible.
So after McTavish, Nazem Kadri, Brock Nelson, Karel Vejmelka, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Alex Lafreniere. Chris has been all over him, but he knows he can't wait past the 13th round in this one. Jake Wallman.
Round 2, average his ranking is 213 for Lafreniere. How the mighty have fallen.
If there's another bounce back candidate, born again wing, bow. That would be Lafreniere. Jake Wallman, Dylan Strome, Brent Burns, Sam Bennett, Mark Stone, Adam Fantilli, Will Smith. That one hurts. Andrei Kopitar, Patrick Kane, Cam Fowler, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Gabriel Landeskog takes us all the way through pick 162. Chris Txiv Williams. Don't I can wait on him. Aaron Ekblad.
I have 4 Minnesota Wild players. I have their whole top power play unit.
All right, I'm not waiting anymore on defensemen. And listen, we can poop on the stat all we want, but it's relevant at least in this mock. Plus minus, give me Gustav Forsling as my 4th defenseman. I'll certainly take that. I'm gonna have to take another defenseman here as we get towards the end of the draft. Let's see. I like to have a bench guy. I like to have a guy who can rotate in and out, and I don't want to wait on it. Give me Philip Hronek. And play in the top pairing, you get your hits, Gets a nice, well-rounded player there. Ooh, Owen Tippett. That was the guy I wanted and forgot about. That bad job by me. Very bad job by me. I should have taken him with one of those picks. Damn it, Travis. But hey, this is why you practice, right? This is why you do the mock.
You were too excited about taking back-to-back defensemen.
Yeah, I was. I
All
was. I should have, you know what? After the way defenseman went, I should have said, screw it. Well, there goes Thomas Shabbat, so maybe my instinct is off. But so what do I got? I got 2 centers, 3 centers, or I got 5 centers. I don't need to take a center with my list. Jeez, look at all those defensemen going. I mean, listen, Hannafin, Ekholm, there's still quality on the board here to round out either your 4th or bench spot. There goes Cole Perfetti, Jet Greaves, Chris Kreider, Darren McCann, as we almost round up round 15 here. And enter the last round of the 16-round draft here. It's been fun. Get this one under the books. I got 1, 2 left wing eligible players and 1, 2, 3, 4 right wing. So I have to take a left wing on my last pick just for roster balance and options. So it's going to handcuff me a little bit, but there's still some decent options there that I wouldn't be too upset to get. See what happens there. But Freddie Anderson closes out round 15. Patrick Laine opens up this round 16 with Lucas Dostal and Morgan Riley. Just about a few more picks to go. Kent Johnson, Justin Falk. Chris going to come back on the clock here in a minute after Jason makes his final pick. He took Joey DeCord last round. Marek wants to know, is there drafts that you avoid or settings in those drafts you avoid? Well, obviously we take plus minus off in leagues that we have control of the settings. There goes Rasmus Anderson. Certainly not. Yeah, I could have waited on defense and gotten Owen Tippett there and taken whatever fell to me. That, I understand I'm nitpicking here in the round 15, but still. There goes Sean Dursey, Chris Letang. Yeah, geez, people filling out their defensemen here. Anders Lee, Sam Rinzel, Mike Matheson, and listen, Boone Jenner, Mikhail Granlund, Evander Kane, Jake DeBrusk. You know what? Give me Arturi Lehkonen, shorthanded point guy. As my last pick, why not? I needed a left wing eligible guy. So there we go. So let's do a quick review of our teams. Let me answer Marek's question first. We said plus minus. I don't like to get too crazy with like X premium leagues. We'll say wins are worth 10 points for a goalie in some leagues because sometimes it's fun to skew the stats that way. Sometimes it just doesn't make things true, but I'm a fantasy hockey junkie. I'll play almost any settings you give me. So first up here, let's take a look at Anthony's team. And, walk us through. You don't got to go pick by pick, but who are you most happy to get and who are you maybe kind of settled into?
Definitely happy to get Heischer here. I know he had a pretty big season last year at center. I always at least like to have one devil. I was not going to be going after Jack Hughes because he can't stay healthy, so I didn't want that to saddle my team if he can't keep himself healthy. I'm actually very happy with the goalies. Like I always say, I always like to go for the tandems, but to get a top guy in Vasilevsky and Gustafsson, I really like that. And then I got Vijmelka also from Utah, so he can get a couple of good starts in there as well. Morrissey, my thing was making sure that there was dual eligibility for most of my positions, and I got that. Clayton Keller, Tomas Hertl, who had a big season for me last year, so I'm kind of banking off of him having another big season with Vegas. Svechnikov from Carolina I like, and obviously I took Toffoli as well, as he could do that, and he'll score some goals. And the defense, maybe I'm not as happy about, but Morrissey and Sanderson at the top there, I'm good with, and Lacombe, Parayko. I say it's a pretty decent team.
Listen, Anders Lee in the 16th round. I mean, listen, somebody has to put the puck in the net for the Islanders, Absolutely. And he's been that guy. So I think it's a solid draft top to bottom, especially your first one for the year, at least that I know of, or at least first one with us. And yeah, you get Nico Hischier. He's going to be on the second line, so maybe he gets away from Jack Hughes. Now, before we talk about Chris's team, Jack Hughes goes 210, so one pick after you take Vasilevsky. Where does Jack Hughes fall to you in what round where you're like, all right, I'll take him now, where you're not concerned about the injury anymore? Is that as early as the third round, or you really need for him to somehow fall into a fourth or fifth round which is not going to happen. But you're muted.
I think so. I went under the impression that I was just not going to draft him this year because every year he's been drafted, he just gets hurt. I need to see him stay healthy, at least a season, before I start thinking about drafting him again. It's it's for the same thing for the Devils too. Like their whole team is based on if Jack Hughes is going to be playing and if he can deliver for them. And I don't know. I just don't want to take that risk with Hughes again this year. There's just better options to me.
I think this guy's a Devils fan. He took Hughes, Jesper Brett, Luke Hughes, Jake Allen. So maybe a little bit. Now Chris picking in smack in the middle of the round with the 6th overall pick. Listen, we all know you love to get Kaprizov there. You felt forced to take Ottinger there to a degree. You get Boldy. We talked about Thompson and Caulfield. Take me home from there, though.
I mean, you need guys who could score. I clearly focused on that early, with the exception of Ottinger. I felt like that was a good spot where I should take him. Tage Thompson's dual position eligibility. Cole Cosman. Roman Josi is there. He's my first defenseman at pick 6. As you can see, there's kind of that gap in the middle. There's a couple of guys are going, and then I felt like I needed one. I was set in round 6 to take one. It was Josi or Harley, whichever one was coming back to me. Those were the two that I wanted. Michkov has the offensive upside. Elias Patterson is like, I know that it's not great. He's probably not a 100-point player, but if I could get a point per game production out of him in round 8 in a 12-team league, I'll take it. We'll go down that path. Dylan Gunther, I expect him to take another step. Utah's a great team. They're going to be good offensively. Stuart Skinner is there. I need a goalie. So I'm just hoping he can, keep the net. Joel Eriksson Ek, why not, right? Everybody needs a third Minnesota player. Demidov is right there. I was hoping he maybe wouldn't, but I saw where he was going right now, and I saw he was in the player list. He was actually rated higher than Lafreniere. So I took Demidov there. It still took Lafreniere because somebody's got to be on the power play. And then I needed defenseman because I realized I had only one, and I had 3 spots that I needed to fill. So I quietly took Bouillon there. A little bit more of a risk here just because, he's a kid. Minnesota didn't have a great power play, but I'm hoping he could take that spot from Faber and nobody else takes it from him. Noah Hannafin is going to be there. The loss of Pietrangelo, I think, means that Hannafin's going to be counted more on this coming season. It's probably Shea Theodore is going to get the top spot, but if he can, contribute and, I don't know, pick up 50 points, that'd be great. Sean Dursey, I need somebody who can, block shots if something happens to Sergachev.
Yeah.
He's there. He's a player who can contribute. There were a lot of defensemen. I didn't think as many would go in those last 3 rounds. I waited till the end to draft some defensemen because I probably should have done that differently. But I was like, hey, I'll start here. And then, it's just green everywhere. And I mean,
Hold on. You were trying to zag when everybody else was zigging, and usually that works to a degree, but then it just it got
I
too
ran out of
unhandsy.
time. It's just right. It's all about the value, right? I felt there was good value in taking Joel Eriksson Ek where he was. I felt like there was good value in taking Ivan Demidov exactly where he was. The same thing with Lex Lafreniere. Like I can't find those players later on in the draft, right? Or at least I didn't feel like. I feel like I could find guys like Dursey and Bouillon maybe on the waiver wire, depending on, what happens to start the year. There's always guys who kind of pop off, but I can't find top 6 players on teams that are going to be offensive. So that was the upside that I was willing to take.
All right. Well, I think you did all right considering that you were kind of forced to just wait till the end. You still got some decent defensemen there to round it out. And like you said, the cost, the guys you got in lieu of that make a lot of sense. Now, looking at my team picking first overall, I open with the Oilers stack there, McDavid, Bouchard, and I get Shesterkin, Kempe, Connor Bedard. I'm sitting pretty here through my first 5. I can't complain, especially with the Bedard having right wing eligibility. That changes things entirely. I don't think he's going to be waiting. I don't know if I'm going to get him in the 5th round again. in any mocks. He's probably going to start. I'm not saying he's going to go first 2 rounds because people have, cooled off on him to a degree, but I think if you wait till the 4th round, you might be disappointed. He's a guy that you probably got to grab somewhere in the 3rd round as, Mockey season moves along. Needed to get a second defenseman there because I like to have my first 2 locked up, Shea Theodore. And again, got forced into it because, okay, fine. I took Bouchard. There goes Darlene, Morrissey, then nobody for a little while. Then Hudson, Hedman, Fox, hunky-dory, no defenseman. And then bam, 6th round, just all of a sudden started to go. I had to take Theodore there. Again, I spoke earlier maybe that I wanted Nyes over Tavares, but I'm still happy with getting Tavares there. Sergachev, again, with the way defensemen were going, I felt like if I'm going to be forced to take a defenseman earlier than I want, but there's a guy I like at that spot, and fine, I'll do it. Binnington, made my case for him earlier in the show. Go back and listen to that. Zach Hyman there at that point. If I've brought into Edmonton, maybe if I had, I'm not going to take maybe 3 Edmonton forwards, but to have Bouchard, Hyman, and McDavid certainly spread out the right way. Buchnevich with his position eligibility. I know Thatcher Demko gets hurt, but listen, he plays well, and as a 3rd goalie, sure, why not? Mason McTavish there, getting him. I don't think he's going to wait till the 13th round in many drafts. I discussed my Forsling, Hronek. I should have taken one and then tip it out the other. But getting Arturi Lehkonen in my last pick there, certainly, that made me feel a lot better about the way the draft went overall. Even though, listen, you could get nitpicky about your last pick, but this was as competitive as a mock draft as we've had in a long time here.
Listen, if your worst pick is your last pick, I think you know what I mean? I think you've been doing just fine.